Okay, welcome to the Art of Storytelling with Dictation. My name is Mary Crawford, and I'm here to help you turn your voice into one of your most powerful tools. So a little bit about me, very briefly, because I don't have much time. I've used voice recognition software for over 30 years. I used it to go to college and to law school, and I'm new to fiction. I've done fiction for a little over 5 years now. So that's a little bit different animal than using it in the business community. But I've used Dragon product since before they had numbers. So that's how long I've been using it. As I said a minute ago, I own Dragon on all 3 platforms. I prefer to use my Mac because I can dictate directly into Scrivener without having to copy and paste. I have now written 35 books, 30 of which are fiction and 5 of which are nonfiction. And my website address is here if you need me. So what I'm about to tell you are my opinions, and they might work differently for you. You might prefer one program over another that I really am not a fan of, but that's the way this goes. What works for me might not work for you, but I'm going to give you my best experiences with it. If I recommend a product to you, like I will recommend a mic product called Crisp, and I will recommend a speech productivity product if you use Windows and Dragon. I don't make any money from those recommendations. They are freely given. I don't have any affiliate links. I don't have any of that stuff. I will talk about in this presentation what I think your optimal choices are. Now, if you have a computer that does not have 32 gigabytes of RAM, I understand, but you can put it on your wish list for later, for what works the very best. So if you don't have the same microphone that I prefer, or the same amount of memory or whatever, you're not doomed. It's just that I'm telling you what I have found over 30 years works the best. So there are a lot of reasons to use voice recognition software. You can save yourself from injury. A lot of people are natural verbal storytellers, and for people like me, it's an accessibility issue. If I had to type my words, they'd never get done. There are some downsides to using my recommendations for voice recognition software. Primarily the cost. Dragon is expensive, okay? But in many ways, it's incredibly worth it. And you might need to, purchase new equipment eventually. And there's some time and a learning curve to changing your brain from typing to using dictation. So there's kind of a triad of things that I think you need to dictate successfully. First of all, you need computer equipment that is able to run Dragon, which is my recommendation. There are other programs out there, and we can talk about those briefly. But you need a computer with processing power and a solid-state drive. I don't recommend, if you're buying a new computer, I don't recommend any less than 16 gigabytes of RAM, even though Nuance, the creator of Dragon, says it will run on 4. No, it won't run on 4. You'll sit there and see a spinning thing. So you need a powerful computer with a solid-state drive. You need a good microphone. Now, what defines a good microphone to different people are different things. So, for example, I absolutely love my Yeti by Blue Mic. It is not my husband's favorite microphone. He prefers the Snowball. My 16-year-old son has a little Samsung Go mic that he clips on the edge of his laptop that he prefers. So, so you need a good mic, but the same mic is not good for everyone. So in my opinion, and I've been doing this a long time, and I've had everything from, you know, dollar store microphones to microphones specifically designed for speech recognition. In my opinion, the Yeti by Blue Mic is the best mic I have ever used, hands down, without question. So that is my recommendation.
What's it called again?
Yeti by Blue Mic. So they're about $100-ish at places like Best Buy and Amazon. And they frequently have Black Friday deals. So if you don't have a mic yet, keep your eye out because they'll probably go on sale soon. So, you know, once you've decided you want to use voice recognition software, you have to choose your software. Now, unfortunately, this has gotten a little less complicated, yet more complicated for those of us who use Mac computers. So we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. So those of us who were happy Dragon users on Mac, last year, October 22nd, Nuance decided they were no longer going to support or sell Dragon Professional Individual 6.0.8 for Mac. This was a bummer. Just saying. So, if you're a Mac user, don't despair, because Dragon 6.0.8 works on Catalina. I'm using it now. It's fine. It works on Mojave. When I designed this presentation, a month or so ago, when I turned it into James, everything was copacetic, and you could get it at Tiger Direct and Newegg and Office Max and some other places. I just did a survey of those sites the other day and couldn't find anywhere except for Walmart.com. So it's very scarce to get Dragon 6.0, which you upgrade after you purchase it to 6.0.8. So if you don't already have it, it might be a little difficult. So, like I said, the big players are Dragon Professional Individual 15.3, which you'll upgrade to 15.0, which you'll upgrade to 15.3 once you purchase the product. It has incredible accuracy. You can customize and train it. It has built-in compatibility with Word and WordPerfect and OpenOffice. Dragon Professional Individual, which we just talked about, for the Mac, the 6.0.8. It's very accurate. You can customize and train it. It's the best speech recognition software for a Mac. Unfortunately, nobody sells it anywhere. So if you can get your hands on a copy, if you don't already own a copy, that's good. So Dragon Anywhere is available for both iOS and Android. It goes on your phone or your tablet. It is the most accurate of the mobile versions of speech to text. You can customize your vocabulary and sync it with the vocabulary that you already have if you have a desktop version. So that's one of my favorite features. It works well with Dropbox and Evernote. Unfortunately, it's a subscription service, which makes me sad. And then everyone who has a computer has an operating system built in your computer, whether you have a Mac or Windows. It's free, and that's a big positive, but it's less accurate, and there's limited to no training of customized words, so it makes it hard to use on a daily basis. And making corrections in these programs can be more difficult than it is in Dragon. So I did an experiment when I wrote the Power of Dictation. I did an experiment with all the platforms. I was able to get 98% accuracy with both Windows and Mac version of Dragon Professional Individual. When I did the Mac version, it dropped down to 85%, and when I worked with the operating system on Windows, it went down to 67%. Now that might not seem huge, But when you're working with 100,000 word manuscript, that's a lot of words to get wrong, and it takes a lot of time to edit those. So the higher accuracy makes your job easier. So there are some other options. Google Docs has voice typing in their stuff. So it's actually fairly accurate. The problem is it lacks basic punctuation like quote marks. So that's a real limitation. And also, if you write things with lots of cuss words, Google Docs is probably not for you because it censors all the cuss words. So, and speech notes is a little bit better, has more punctuation, but it is based on Google's engine, and so there's no voice correction, and it also censors the word, the cuss words. So, Speechy is good, and it also it's a phone app, and it also has a built-in translator, which is pretty cool. Otter AI. A lot of people use this and love it. Excuse me. I tried it, and I was really frustrated because it tried to break up my speech as if we were different speakers. Because as you can tell, I don't often have great breath support because of my disability, and I pause a lot between my sentences. And Otter AI thought that I was a different speaker, so that's a little frustrating. Same with Dictation.io. So the accuracy has good accuracy and multilingual support. Punctuation was a bit strange, and then Siri is pretty good, except that you have to talk in really short sentences or it shuts off, so that's a problem. So if you have a Mac, we talked about this a little bit. It is working fine with Catalina. One caveat, one user who is quite vocal in the community put the beta version on a partition on his hard drive, and he has had trouble uploading Dragon Professional Individual to Catalina. I have not had that problem. I have both installed Catalina before and after having voice recognition on the computer, and it works fine for me. So, and like I said, where you find it is a big question now. You may be able to find some on eBay. So, we're going to talk a little bit about computers and making sure you have enough power. So if you are running, actually either platform, if you're running Dragon and you want to run any other program like Word or whatever, you basically need 16 gigabytes of RAM. So it will run on less. I have run it on as few as 6, but it is slow and laggy and it will drive you nuts. So the more RAM you have and the faster solid state drive you have, the easier time you're going to have with Dragon keeping up. I recently, I had a problem with my Mac and Apple replaced it for me, and I upgraded the memory from 16 to 32. It makes a huge difference in accuracy, which is something I didn't expect. I'm using the same microphone, I'm using the same equipment, but having more RAM helps my accuracy because apparently Dragon can do more things behind the scenes. So it's good to have a large hard drive if you have a RAM because programs take up a lot of space, and saving your documents and your Scrivener documents take up some space. And you'll need a port replicator like I'm using here for things like your microphone and other things. So same with Windows. You need to make sure that you have 16 gigabytes of RAM. a solid state drive, USB ports, and a fan which is quiet. I know that on my Windows computers, and I have several, the fans tend to be really noisy, and that little bit of white noise can screw your mic up like you wouldn't believe. So what I do when I'm at home is I run my computer on a cookie sheet, like one of those cooling sheets that you put cookies on to cool, and it helps keep some circulation under my computer. So Dragon Anywhere works with both Android and iOS, and unfortunately Dragon Anywhere requires Wi-Fi access. So on the plus side, Scrivener for iOS has a mobile program which is helpful. Unfortunately, Dragon Anywhere can't dictate directly into Scrivener, so you'll have to save to and copy and paste. So I've been introduced this year to virtual desktops. So if you find yourself in a situation where you have a Mac but you don't have voice recognition software for a Mac, you can run the Windows program on your Mac using a virtual desktop. I happen to be using Parallels. I'm not very computer bright, but even I was able to figure that out. So I'm running both Windows and Mac on this computer. So microphones are critical for accuracy. So when you're choosing a microphone, and I have a picture here of my favorite one, make sure that you have the ability to set the gain. I purchased a different microphone, the Nano from Yeti or from Blue Mic. I thought I was going to love it because it's smaller and has a smaller footprint. Unfortunately, you're not able to set the gain, and for someone like me who can have a soft voice, that was really frustrating. So that one went back to the store, and I got the Yeti so that I could set the gain. If you want a headset mic, the Flexi mic is widely regarded as one of the best headset mics. It's a little on the spendy side, and you need an adapter to make it work with your computer. So that's my quick rundown on microphones. We now have a new tool, and I cannot tell you how excited I am about Chris. It is basically artificial intelligence. You put it on your computer, and it was originally intended for like conference calls, but I found that it works really well. It screens out the background noise. Okay, so I can have the television playing. In my testing, I was playing Taylor Swift's new album because it was coming out at the time that this came out. I was playing it right next to my mic, and I could still dictate. I was so excited. So if you have kids, or you have TVs playing in the background, or your dog likes to bark, like mine, and before crisp, I'd have to go through my manuscript and make sure that my manuscript didn't say will, because that's what happens when Lily barks. So this is a subscription service. Keep your eye out for AppSumo, because I was able to get a lifetime deal on this. But even if you can't, if you have to dictate in a challenging environment, I recommend that this is worth the fee. And rumor is they're coming out with an Apple version for iOS and also for Android. So that will change the world of transcription forever if that happens. So I'm going to give you some tips for working with voice recognition software in general. Not all of these apply to Dragon. Some of them apply, to other programs. So, because I realize now everybody dictates with Dragon. So make sure that your microphone is a consistent distance away from your mouth, regardless of what kind you use. Choose a distance that's comfortable for you, set the gain appropriately, and then make sure your microphone is in the same spot. because just a few inches one way or the other can really affect your accuracy. And the other thing is stay hydrated. Dictation is hard work, and you will become incredibly dehydrated if you don't keep drinking. And for all the coffee lovers out there, I'm so sorry. Water is better than coffee in terms of keeping your vocal cords healthy. So if you're new to dictation, practice dictating everywhere. That means like your text messages, when you leave a text message, when you put your credit card into the phone, say that instead of typing it. It'll get you in the habit of speaking your thoughts out loud. Okay, so have some patience with yourself, please. Some people are going to be able to pick up dictation, and it's going to be like nothing, and they're going to be going a million miles an hour. Other people are going to struggle a little bit with the process of getting your thoughts from your brain to your computer. Please remember that when you first learned to type, you really sucked at it, but nobody remembers that. Everybody's like, I can type so much easier than I can speak. Well, yeah, because you've had years and years and years and years of practice. But when you started, you found it really frustrating, and you're like, well, I'm going to put this keyboard away and I'm just going to write because it's easier, because I know how to do that. So give yourself some patience. So, and if you're starting and you're obsessed with how many mistakes you make, or that upsets you or takes you out of the flow, cover your screen. So it's better to dictate in whole sentences, because the artificial intelligence behind Dragon can guess better that you meant I scream when I go see horror movies than if you say I scream, because they don't know if you meant ice cream or ice cream, right? So you need to give more of it, more context to Dragon so it can determine which word you meant to use. So, and I at home use noise canceling headphones, and I play 80s country music through my Pandora. Okay, why do I play 80s country music? Is there anything magical about that? No, it's because I know every single word and I don't have to think about it, right? So I put it to disguise the noise of my, the distraction of hearing myself speak, because I don't know about any of the rest of you, but I don't really like the way I speak. And I don't like to hear it for hours, hours, and hours. So that's what I do. Some people prefer not to write with music, and that's okay, I understand that. And other people love white noise. I found that when I tried white noise, my brain was trying to figure out what it was doing, and then it didn't really work. So. So, if you are dictating into either the Mac version or the Windows version, if Dragon has a non-supported app, like say Scrivener or Pages or Grammarly, and it's not supported, it will open up a little pad for you to dictate in and then copy and paste. Don't use this. Please, please, please don't use this. Why? Because Dragon is prone to crashing. Okay?
I second that.
Yes. So, Dragon is prone to crashing, and if it crashes while you're using Dragon Pad, you will lose everything. Okay? So, if you've been dictating for 45 minutes, and you're in the grain of storytelling, and you're yeah, this is really working, and it crashes, it's all gone. Okay. So, what do I can really talk. What do I suggest that you do instead? Okay, so if you're using the Mac version, you can dictate directly into Scrivener, which is my absolute favorite way to dictate. Okay, if you are not, and you are using the Windows version, you can dictate directly into Grammarly, which is awesome because it gives you an extra little bonus grammar check as you copy and paste it back into your Scrivener or your Word or whatever you use. And Microsoft Word, you can use Word. But, okay, this is a big but. If you have big documents, it will become so slow and laggy that it gets frustrating. So if you want to use Word, make sure you do small subdocuments, because otherwise you'll drive yourself nuts. So you can also use notes or Notepad. So notes in the Mac version, Notepad in Windows. Those automatically save, so that's cool. And Grammarly automatically saves as you go, so you don't have to think about it. So, so those are my suggestions. You can also use OneNote if you're a OneNote fan. Oh, see, I wanted to make sure you knew that was important. So my favorite new solution, I used to dictate, if I was on the Windows side, I used to dictate directly into Grammarly. My favorite new solution is an add-on program to Dragon by a third party. I have the email address there. You might want to note it if you don't already have speech productivity. It will give you $15 off the program. The regular speech productivity, I think, is usually $25, and the pro is worth, I think, $55 maybe. So what this does is it's everything that Dragon Pad should have been but isn't. Okay, so it automatically saves your work. You pick a file and you dictate into this window, and it automatically saves your work. And not only that, you can make the windows different things. You can increase the font. You can make it so that the background is transparent. You can open teeny tiny windows if you're doing like Facebook and you want to see what else is on the screen. So it's really worth the extra money to keep your words safe, because we work really hard for those words. You don't want them to poof, disappear. So that's my recommendation if you use Windows. It does need to be the professional version of 12 on up. So if you have the home version, speech productivity will work with that. I don't recommend the home version of Dragon in any capacity. It's just too stripped down. It's like WordPad compared to Microsoft Word. So get the professional version so you can have customized vocabulary and some more training. So a lot of people like to take their Dictation mobile and do transcription. I should do more transcription than I do, but like I said, I've been using this forever and I'm used to the words coming up on the screen in front of me. But it is often faster to transcribe, meaning you record in, I use my cell phone, by the way, to record my audio files and then transcribe them using Dragon. I also have 2 like mini digital recorders, but I never seem to have them handy when the inspiration strikes. So I now use something called Voice Record Pro on my phone, and that's really helpful because it saves directly to Dropbox or your OneDrive or wherever you want to put it. So please don't transcribe and drive. So I know that there are people that do that, but I have an occupational history of being a disability advocate, and many of my friends became disabled because of distracting driving. So please don't do that. I know it seems like it would be a big time saver, but don't, please. So your mindset is really important when it comes to dictation. So it's a little different than sitting in front of the keyboard. Like I said, when you learn to type, it was a long time ago, but it was frustrating then. So when I first tell people that I dictate my books, I got some mixed responses that I was not expecting. Like, that's not real writing. Excuse me? They're my words from my imagination. What makes them not real, right? So if somebody gives you that pushback that it's only real writing if you type it on a keyboard, keep in mind that under that logic, people would still be writing with stones on cave walls, right? So dictation is just another input tool. You know, it's the same as an ergonomic keyboard or, you know, whatever. It's one more tool in your arsenal. So it doesn't change the fact that you're writing the story. It's just another input method. And if you can think about that is just another input method. It is not all or nothing. You don't have to be 100% successful at dictation. You can try it on the side. You can incorporate it, you know, a certain number of hours to give your, you know, wrists a break. But it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's just another input device. That also gives you freedom to forgive yourself if you're one of those people for whom dictation does not work. Because there are some people that find dictation incredibly frustrating. People with accents, people with hearing impairments, people with speech impairments may find dictation is frustrating. Now, Dragon has the capability to have language models that have accents, right? So you can adjust that, and many women find that using the teenage profile, if your voice is soft and or high, may work better than a regular standard profile. So we're going to talk a little bit about writing styles here. Because I hear, well, I'm a pantser. I can't possibly use voice recognition software. You need a total outline. No. I have 35 books that say otherwise, right? I am a dyed-in-the-wool pantser. I try outlining and it frustrates me to tears, so I don't. So it matters not whether you're a plotter and you love to outline, whether you're a pantser like me and you're like, oh, tell me the story because I have no clue what's going to happen, or a plantser, which is somewhere in between. So sometimes as writers we can have a mixed approach. So for my fiction, I have the character names and the title of the book, maybe, and nothing else. For my nonfiction books, I tend to outline a little more, so I make sure that I cover all the topics I want to cover. So if you are a plotter, there are many things that you can do to help dictation work better. So the plotters I know have extensive outlines. So print your outline out so you've got it in front of you so you don't have to flip back and forth on your computer. Make sure you add your custom vocabulary. And this includes custom vocabulary that has different capitalization. So if you're using, you know, a name that has a different capitalization than is standard, you need to put that into your custom words. So, so if you're using Scrivener, you can add your outline. If you've done it in another app like Excel or whatever, you can drag a bookmark over into Scrivener so you can see it directly. So if you deviate from your outline, if you're a plotter and you know your characters suddenly go down, you know, go rogue on you, you might want to put a notation in your dictation that you need to go back and edit and make sure that it's consistent with your outline. And I have to do this when I sprint. I put things that I need to look up or maybe change in square brackets so it's easy to go back through and find. So if you're, let's see here. If you're a plantser, like you like the structure of some outline, but you still like the creativity, Dragon can work for you too. Again, to the extent that you know custom words, like character names, you can add them in advance. You can also have Dragon learn from your specific writing style. You can train it to do that. My caveat to that is make sure that the document that you use is well spell checked and grammar checked, and it's truly reflective of how you write. Dragon, especially the Windows version, likes to offer to process your emails as part of the language file. Why in the world you would do that, I have no clue, because nobody writes emails the way that they actually write in real life, and half of the files that you're going to get aren't even your own writing. So just, I wouldn't recommend processing your emails by any means, but I would also recommend that you limit the scope of the way that Dragon learns to specific manuscripts or documents that are really reflective of the way you write. So, for example, if you write both clean and spicy romance, you might want to have one profile for clean and one profile for spicy. So, for those of us who love to fly by the seat of our pants, like me, you can still use Dragon very effectively, okay? To the extent that you know character names, put them in advance, and you can, again, have Dragons study representative samples of your work. You can also set up your preferences in Dragon to make sure that they respect the way that you write. For example, I don't write any numbers in my fiction, right? I spell them all out, whether they're 1 through 10 or, I spell them all out. So I have that set up as a preference. I also don't have it set up to do abbreviations. So it says doctor fully spelled out and professor fully spelled out. And if you're writing along and you introduce a new character, you can add it to your vocabulary at any time. You don't have to do it all up front. You can do it as you introduce terms. Or if you're fantasy and you have a special term for something, you can add it. So I have a few minutes for questions. I currently have 3 out of 4 of these out. The Windows version of Scrivener is not out yet by Literature and Latte, so I don't have that book available, but I have the other 3 available. So, for those, I get a lot of questions about which voice recognition book they should get. If you're new and you don't know the mechanics of Dragon very well, Power of Dictation goes into setting up your system and how to troubleshoot and that kind of stuff. Use Your Voice has more to do with how to adapt Dragon to your own writing style. So, and then Scrivener for Mac is pretty self-explanatory. It's an everyday guide. I talk about my years of experience doing Scrivener and what I've learned from that process. So thank you very much, and I will take questions.
Hello. So I'm using Vellum. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but what do you suggest for getting, is there a way to get it directly into Vellum or more of a copy and paste, and can you repeat the steps?
Okay, so
how to do that?
I tried using Dragon directly in Vellum. They don't play well together, unfortunately. So are you using Windows or Mac?
A Mac.
Okay, so what I would do is I would dictate directly into Grammarly and then copy and paste from there.
Okay, thank you. So some of us who type have faced, the cursor, the blinking cursor. Are there things you do to overcome the quiet time on the mic?
So, like when you need to pause, you mean?
Just when you're thinking, like, are there exercises you do to help you?
You can say go to sleep, and the mic goes down, and you say wake up, and it wakes up. So So you can protect your speech file that way. If you're thinking about how to think creatively and write, that's a matter of practice. So start with things that don't matter. So think about things like what would happen if you won $1 million, but you couldn't give it away, you had to give it to other people to give it away. Something that makes you think creatively, and start practicing dictation that way.
Thank you.
Okay, so I need to stop, and everybody's got raffle tickets, right? So we're going to draw two. I need my volunteer to draw. Okay, so shake them up. Okay, so I have two here. If the last digit of your raffle ticket is 584, please step forward. Okay. If your raffle ticket is 565, please step forward. So the two of you, compliments of Nuance software, have won a version of Dragon Professional Individual, which is a 300. Okay, guys over there. So.
Do you take any more questions?
Afterward.
So, am I done with questions? Okay, I'm done with questions for now, but I'll be around, so if you need to answer questions or ask questions, I'll be around.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.